Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Keith here from Command the Hoops. If this is your first time coming across to my channel, all I ask if you can like and subscribe below, it would be really appreciated. As we're pushing for the 19,000 by the end of the summer. I know it's been wishy-washy on this channel. There hasn't been enough content going up in the last few months. But this is the business time. This is the best time to talk because we want to know players that we're linked with, players that could potentially come in, make a difference with this upcoming season and future seasons, and players that we want to get rid of because they haven't suited the style of football, just haven't been good enough in the manager's eyes, they haven't been good enough in the fans' eyes. We need a bit of change, we need a bit of freshness in the squad because last week was a hard one to take against Aberdeen. Let's be honest, Aberdeen more hungrier. This is what the problem is with Celtic over the last 2-3 years. We expect to turn up and expect we just win because we have the superior team. We have players that are on probably double or triple the wages that some players they're playing against. Because we're Celtic, because we've dominated for so many years, we expect to win. It doesn't work like that way. But we're going to talk about players that are leaving the club and players that we are identifying to bring into strength and positions. Let's be honest, it's going to be a weird summer with a Club World Cup on. The transfer window is open on the 1st of June, which is a couple of days away. Opens for 10 days, closes, then it opens back up in July again. Serious stuff going to happen because we need to get players in. We need to clear the deadwood out at the end of the day. There's been players there that are robbing a wage and not doing enough, not contributing enough. And there is players that are on loan that haven't really impressed on their loan moves, where we could just sell them off, take the pinch of it, or maybe give them a chance. So let's talk about it today. It's gonna be a long video. I'm gonna try make up as much accurate information as I can to you. I'm gonna see your comments below after it, and we're gonna talk about it on the podcast as well in the next couple of days. Let's start off with Scott Bain. Just want to wish Scott Bain the very best with the rest of his career. Joined Celtic in January 2018 from Dens Park. He was on loan at Hibs at the time. Strolled up to do his Celtic medical in a Hibs tracksuit. He's played 78 times for Celtic, 7 league honours, 4 Scottish League Cups, and 3 Scottish Cups as well on top of that. And look at the players he's been working alongside: Fraser Foster, Joe Hart, Craig Gordon, Barkas, Connor Hazard, Kasper Schmeichel, and Sinsalo as well. So I wish him the very best. But the good news is, regards to his replacement, we're bringing back a former Celtic player that came through the youth academy that worked alongside Scott Bain and other keepers like Fraser Foster and Craig Gordon, which is a 27-year-old Scottish player called Ross Doohan, which is know quite well. He's had to spend the last 2 years at Aberdeen. He played 15 times this season, and we're getting him on a free. Good bit of business. You know, his contract's up. Yes, he's a winner's medal against Celtic last week, and this is a guy that we're bringing back in to fight against Sinsalo for the place and Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper Schmeichel's going to his final season. Yes, a lot of people are still angry and frustrated with Kasper Schmeichel's error in the cup final, but you have to forgive in life. You have to forgive. Yes, it was a factor was losing the treble, of course it was, but look at what he has brought to the team. Success, so many clean sheets, so many big saves in Champions League football. Never forget that stuff as well. So Ross Doohan's coming in, 27 years of age. A player that will be leaving Celtic is one of our youth players, which now he's now 19 years of age, who will be going to West Ham United, which has been linked with them for the last year, is Daniel Cummings. Daniel Cummings has been playing for the B side for Celtic in the Lowland League. He scored 23 goals in the Lowland League, and he scored a couple of goals in the Champions League Youth League as well. He made his debut against Villa at Villa Park back in January, and we are selling him, which his contract is up in about 6 weeks' time. We are selling him for 300 grand, which is a training compensation fee. So he's gone to West Ham. Another player, another exciting prospect that we're losing because either the manager doesn't think isn't good enough, or he wants him to be more patient to get his chance, or there's too much quality ahead of him in that pecking order. Look, I wish him the best. It's happened with Ben Doak, it's happened with Karamoka Dembele, it's happened with other players in the past. Players come and go. If they're that ambitious and they want to stay at the club, they'll fight to get into that team. Like a Tierney, like a Welch, like a Forrest, like a Ralston, like a McGregor, and players. Look at Daniel Kelly. went down to Millwall, hasn't really worked out for him. So that just sums it up. Regards to the striking options, we're still on a lot of fans are still on the fence with Adamida. Now let's be honest, has Adamida worth the price tag we played for him last summer? Definitely not. He needs to get that full summer of pre-season under him to go from strength to strength. He has scored 20 goals this season, and it just feels weird because he went on that drought as well from that stage of October up to January. And when Kyogo left, it was big shoes to fill, and I don't think he has filled them shoes. I thought he was absolutely horrific in the cup final, and I'm not going to pin out on all the bad performances he's done because, as I said, he has scored 20 goals as well. I think there's a lot of work has to be done with Adamida, to be honest. There's been a lot of talk. Will Celtic go to Rennes and get Kyogo back? Been reports in France that Rennes' president or chairman, if you want to say in this term, doesn't really mind, even though they've spent 10 million on Kyogo January gone, that he won't be included into the 35-man squad for next season. Now, the manager that originally signed him got the boot a couple of days after it. Kyogo has barely featured for Rennes, and he's 30 years of age, and he's had his injuries with his shoulder. Would you take him back? I really don't know. I think there's more of an emotional attachment with Kyogo when you think of big game player when it comes to derbies, Champions Leagues, and that's what I think we were missing last week big time. This is what we were missing as well at Ibrox in the last derby as well. And I don't know, I'm just 50-50 on the fence about taking Kyogo back. He's 30 years of age. We've had some really good moments. He scored 86 goals for Celtic in his career from that time of signing him. Ange Postecoglou's first season up to in January. But he wanted to go because he wanted to chase getting into the Japanese squad. He was being unhappy since October. So if that's a player that we were to take back and he's going to do the same thing in about 6 or 7 months, what's the point? What's the point? As much as I love Kyogo, what's the point? We are still linked with Mathias Kvistgaarden of Brøndby in Denmark. He scored 23 goals this season, 7 goals. The Danish league is still on at the moment, and there's been hints upon hints from Danish outlets saying that he's prepared to leave this summer, but Brøndby want around 10 million quid from him. To be honest, a lot of potential there with Kvistgaarden. He's 5'8". He has not been capped for Denmark's senior team yet, and he has experience of scoring in the Europa League and the Conference League in there as well. But he has done well in the Danish league. I would sign him personally. I'd pick him over Kyogo because he's younger. He's 7 years younger. He's a point that he wants to move to a team that can offer him Champions League football. He'll relish the chance. He's hinted at times that he wants to move away from Brøndby when he's been directly linked with Celtic. So let's see how this falls out over the next couple of days. It'd be an interesting one, to be honest with you. It's like you look at the guy we've been linked with, the Japanese left back Keita Kosugi from Djurgården in Sweden, a guy that played in the Conference League, got to the Conference League semi-finals. They were beaten by Chelsea. 19 years of age, promising player, 5'9" as well. Guy that's played 30 games this season for Djurgården, and he's only signed for them last season, and he looks like a promising left back as well. Keep an eye on that. The only problem is with this, PSG and Liverpool are interested in him as well, but he's not guaranteed that he's going to get them chances first team. So Celtic are sniffing around the radar in regards to these Scandinavian base players, I mean. So we'll see what happens with that. Greg Taylor, he's out of contract in the next couple of weeks. Looks like he's played his last game for Celtic against Aberdeen. He's been linked with a move to Greece lately. Packard interested in him. There was previous reports in January that Dynamo Zagreb wanted him. Now, Dynamo Zagreb lost the Croatian league, so they're looking on a rebuild as well. Personally, I think with Taylor, I said this, I know this is a weird suggestion, I know people have shut it down, I've said this a couple of times. I think Taylor will probably stay in Scotland. I think the highest peak he's ever been is Celtic. I think it's going to be downwards and downwards with Taylor. And no disrespect to the guy, because he's been an absolute great servant, but I just think he'll probably stay in Scotland, and I think Derek McInnes and Hearts will be interested in him, especially if he's on a free. They obviously won't give him the wages that he wanted, but we'll see what happens with that. I know there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks when Georgios Giacomakis spoke to the Daily Record about his time at Celtic, about the contract he was offered, an extra £1,000 pounds and he didn't sign it. He felt it was very disrespectful when he came in when Kyogo was injured. He scored 18 goals at that time as well, and he had a good relationship with the fans, and he felt like he got the wrong side of the brush, and he's hinted that he'd love to wear the hoop shirt again. Will I take Giakoumakis back? He's 30 years of age like Kyogo. He suits Brendan's style of football, not like Kyogo. They didn't know Kyogo was getting the goals. I don't think it's going to happen, to be personally honest with you. He's kind of like took a dig at the board. I can't see the board bringing him back, to be honest. Well, look, it's been stranger things happened with Brendan coming back, but you never know in football. And we have been linked with a couple of defensive midfielders from France, but there's been nothing concrete on that, to be honest with you. I'd like to see us go out and get another centre back. It's definitely. I think Austin Trusty hasn't lived up to the heights, and some fans' eyes, the money that we paid at the time, we felt like we were robbed. Around 6 million for Austin Trusty. I just think at times very inconsistent. Some people have questioned Scales' ability as well, saying that Scales is a bomb threat and all this malarkey. I think Liam Scales, I don't think he's going to get bigger than Celtic, personally, how much is. I know like we had Jeffrey Schlupp at Celtic from January that we signed from Crystal Palace. It was confirmed yesterday by Crystal Palace that he has left the club after 7 years at Palace. And look, I thought he was steady at Celtic for the first 5 or 6 weeks he was at the club. Thought he'd done well against Bayern Munich away in the Allianz Arena. There was initial talks with Jeffrey last week about signing him on a permanent deal. None has escalated since that. There's been rumours as well going around that Millwall, Queen's Park Rangers, his former club Leicester City are interested in signing him, and Coventry as well. So he could be a case where he might just go back down to England and stay in English football. He's 32 years of age. As I said, we're looking at a left back already in the Swedish league. I think we will. I think it's getting Tierney in the door and strengthening that position is crucial, because we don't want to be going into Champions League qualifiers. Touch wood that if Tierney picks up an injury and we're stuck without a left back, we don't want to be going back to the days of Ange where we didn't have a decent defence lined out in them Champions League qualifiers. We're in the playoff round. We are seeded. It does favour us, but it's not guaranteed that we're going to get through. And I'm saying that in a cautious way. I am saying in a cautious way. I truly believe that we do need to strengthen on the wings. When you look at Jota's going to be out for up to 9 months. He had his surgery last week in Portugal, which Paulo Bernardo has visited him since, and they wish him his best wishes of recovering and coming back stronger. It's been a difficult 2.5 years for Jota. We're going from Saudi to France and coming to us and scoring on his comeback against Motherwell and then picking up that injury at Tannadice. It's just been such a bad time for Jota, and I wish him the very best with getting recovering. But regards to Yang, I think Yang does lead a loan move. I think there's potential with Yang. I think I'd like to see Yang go to Hibs or maybe Dundee on loan, Dundee United. It would be interesting. Even Aberdeen. I think Yang has potential there, but I think he needs more first team football. Marco Tilio, that's over in Melbourne at the moment. I don't favour Marco Tilio. I know he's been put into the Australian League team season and all this crap, but come on, it's a different step up from Celtic down to Melbourne City. Let's be honest. So haven't seen enough of Tilio. Regards to Gustav Lagerbielke, I thought he's been outstanding for the over in the Dutch league. To be honest, which is obviously he's played well over there for the likes of Utrecht, and be interesting to see how that goes regards to him. FC20, apologies, FC20. I said Utrecht there for a minute, getting confused with Barkas. He had a Europa League experience in there. He's played well. He's got a couple of goals, and there's talks that obviously Lagerbielke could be bought on a permanent basis to FC20, and there's other clubs that are interested. So we could make back what we originally paid from Elfsborg, around 4 million quid. Jeffrey Frimpong, he has undergone his medical at Liverpool a couple of days ago. We're just waiting for the confirmation of that deal to be sealed from principal from Bayern Leverkusen to Liverpool, which Celtic will pocket around £6 million off Jeremy Frimpong to go to Liverpool, which is around 30% sell-on clause. Look, it's been a great bit of business. You could see Matt O'Reilly leaving Brighton. There's been talks of obviously clubs in Italy and France interested in Matt O'Reilly. There was talks of Atalanta interested in Arnie Ingles. I don't think Arnie Ingles will go, but I think there's a potential of a player there. Will he be as good as Matt O'Reilly? Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm not going to say he will be better than Matt O'Reilly. I do miss Matt O'Reilly at the club, but it's keeping these assets like Maeda. Maeda is being linked with a move to Fenerbahce. Turkish media. Jose Mourinho is keen on bringing in the Japanese attacking player. Plays on the left, plays on the right. We all know what the crack is with Daisy Maeda. We need to sign him on a new contract. His contract is up in 2 years' time. Give him a new deal. We're not going to get a player like Maeda out there in this market. Very hard, he's a gem. And regards to Atate, it's the same situation with Rio Atate. Rio Atate is being so hot and cold. He picked up that injury up in Batodri, and he was a massive miss in the cup final. He was even a massive miss against St. Mirren. We need to get that sorted there. At the end of the day, yes, Atate has been class when he's on his game. He's some player when he's on form, but we need to keep Atate. We need to keep with the likes of Maeda and Atate. Has to be done. Has to be done. So that's really it for me. I've nothing really else to report on. That's just a general chat on players I think that we should be bringing in, some players that we should be going. Would I like to keep Taylor? Yes, I would like to keep Taylor, but if he's not willing to sign a new deal at Celtic, off and go. Brendan Rodgers has left the door open for him, and if it comes to the case that if it doesn't suit him, doesn't suit his family, he's had his time at Celtic, let him go. Let him go. No, there's no sleepless nights if Greg Taylor goes. There'll be more sleepless nights when we get into the transfer window 6 weeks down the line and we don't have two left backs. We only have one left back, established left back, and that'd be Tierney. And I know some fans are still sceptic about Tierney coming back because he's going to be playing on worse pitches than English football, playing more physical against some players as well. Yet we'll have a lot of possession, but like the Scottish League, some people take the Scottish League for granted, and I know Tierney knows it inside out. Obviously, getting through the breakthrough at 16 years of age at Celtic, it's going to be a lot. After what his body's been through the last 4 or 5 years with injuries, and I know he's got his spell of Arsenal where he scored on his final day, and Arsenal fans were quite emotional that Tierney was leaving. They were quite frustrated that they're letting a player go of his quality. But he's coming back home, and that's the most important thing, folks. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching the video. Let us know how you feel about Scott Bain leaving, Daniel Cummings, Greg Taylor, Jeffrey Schlupp, the Djurgården's left back, Kvistgaarden, Kyogo. Just put it in the comments. Put a name in the comments. If it's Balakwisha that we've been linked with from Royal Antwerp, let me know in the comments. I'll speak to you all soon.